Hey everyone, welcome to What the Flick. Season 3, If You're the Walking Dead, episode 12, Brother's Keeper. Get it? Tim, Alonso. This was actually one of my favorite episodes.
It was certainly action-packed.
It was action-packed, but it also took characters to sort of the end of the road in some places, literally. And weirdly, given that I'm really only watching the show because I know Kim Dickens, she's not even in this episode, and I dug it anyway.
Amazing.
No, but I thought there was a lot of a lot of sort of reckoning going on, where you have Jake kind of calling Alicia on what's this about exactly? Is this a relationship or an alliance? And I'm thinking, is a relationship just a luxury that you can't even afford in this kind of world? Like, is he thinking with a pre-zombie outbreak, mindset? Like, isn't it just all about coalitions and that kind of thing at this point?
And is he wrong?
No, I mean look. I think
it seemed to me that's how it all started for Alicia.
Yeah, no.
And I'm not convinced it's gone farther than that.
It's hard to say, but I would say he's not putting too fine a point on it. They did all each work one member of the family, whether by some grand design or not.
Success,
very much so. Yes,
the Clarks have taken over.
That is their game now. I will say it's a little weird now that I'm watching The Deuce every Sunday night as well as this, to see that show gives you 2 James Francos, and so Nick is like really giving me off-brand James Franco more than ever now that I'm seeing them back to back.
Franco overload.
It's a little jarring how much of a resemblance is going on there. Like, they could have called him to play the twin James Franco in The Deuce, but they didn't go that way. Anyway, so we have given that last week's episode was called La Serpiente, I thought it was interesting that this week's episode begins with Troy killing a snake. I thought, oh, okay, that's. Where is Strand? This is not going to go well, but he's not in this episode either. So he continues his wandering, finds this abandoned settlement, and
it's when the first founder to leave the ranch, that was his place.
Oh, okay.
And then the nation had gone there to kill him, to send a message. He was the guy on the chair in the
Gotcha. And I was confused. Like, I was figuring that he'd been dead for a while. Like, how? I get confused about how corpses work. Like, I think, why is he not a walker already? And then why?
Well, he's got a bullet through the head, so that's why he's not a walker.
Okay, but then later when the chair is empty, I thought, oh, maybe it was just a slow process. But because we don't see Troy dump the body.
We see him dig a grave, or we see him dig in the ground.
Oh, you're right. Okay,
so
I was thinking that was something else.
That's the grave.
Okay, I'm getting it now. So sorry.
And that why he goes out there to sit on that chair with his gun is up to interpretation.
Well, I think we're clearly meant to think he's considering whether or not he's going to put a bullet in his own head, and then firing the bullet in the air is his decision that he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously discovering that the loud noise is going to draw the horn. It's like.
It felt like a starter pistol moment. Like, I am setting into action what will be.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
What will be the event of the season with this pistol? Yeah. It's on.
I'm wondering if I'm reading too much into this, but I thought it was interesting that the needlepoint sampler that's hiding the rocket launcher says, it doesn't say God helps those who help themselves. It says God help those who help themselves.
I did not see that.
And I was like, oh wait, this is a request. It's not a motto, or it's just a grammatical mistake. But it seems to me needlepoint takes a long time. You would catch that at some point. So I was like, oh, so this is a weirdly like practical prayer in a way,
or is it saying like, don't help yourself? God help you if you help yourself to the secret stash.
That's also true.
Back here.
True. God help. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of interpretations there. But anyway, just a little thing that I was like, yeah, that's interesting. What's that about exactly? The power dynamics on the ranch continue to be interesting in terms of Ophelia and Crazy Dog realizing that they do have to sort of find some kind of compromise with the Otto's people, because no matter who's in the right, they still have to coexist. They have to work together. They have common goals that they aren't going to reach without each other.
But at the same time, there's a power vacuum.
Yes,
they identify that Jake is weak.
Yes,
and now that the two sides have been brought together, who's going to be the obvious leader? If not Jake. Maybe Nick, maybe Crazy Dog.
The idea that Nick is the ideal leader because he doesn't want to be the leader. It's like, that's Oh,
Yeah.
that's actually not a dumb idea. I mean, like it does stand up to further, scrutiny. But obviously Nick has issues of his own.
So in this episode, he decides that he is sick. That he is just as sick as Troy was.
Yeah.
That the things that Troy wants to do are not outside the realm of things that he would do. I mean, I get that it's been a long time since he's seen his therapist.
Yes.
But what is he really getting at in this episode? Because it seems a departure for him. I know he's tormented, he's got demons he's getting over.
Right, well, again, I think, obviously he's carrying around the guilt of killing Otto, and of killing Otto specifically to have kept Madison from having to do so. And the fact that Troy knows that and Jake doesn't, weighs upon him. It's hard to say what the big picture is for him at this point. I think that he, if he knows that the ranch is doomed, even if the tanker of water does show up, then is he already thinking about what the next step is? Is he trying to figure out, who's going to be left for what shreds of, civilization they can have there? I don't know. I think that he seems to be driven by kind of survivor's guilt, and I'm not sure what else in equal measures, Yeah,
because he doesn't seem to be focusing on the future or his family right now.
Yeah.
He's focusing on like if he can live with himself.
Yeah.
And what that means for him.
No, that's true, and but I think that's kind of the thing for everybody at some point. Like, no one has gotten this far into the narrative clean.
Yeah.
And so it is a question of like, do I carry on with knowing what I've done when carrying on is all that's left for us to do and it's all that's left for humanity to do? Like, there's that whole thing where Nick is telling Jake, if you shoot him, you will wake up to that every day.
Yeah.
You will have to carry that with you every day. And for a minute there, I have to say, I kind of thought we were going to get Abel killing Cain, but nope.
So he feels enough of a kinship or the same as Troy to stop Jake from killing Troy, or at least he feels compassionate enough to Jake to want him to spare him from that.
Yeah, I think he feels compassionate because he sees Troy as one of the few people who isn't haunted by his own decisions and hasn't had to do something utterly horrible in order to keep surviving, because he's been ensconced in this family that was, between Otto, Papa, and Troy, were out doing the worst shit for him.
But then at the end of the episode, he still distances himself enough from Troy to say, look at what you did. Like, come here and look at this.
Well,
I'm gonna rub your nose in it. Bad Troy. But I have to fix this now, and you're gonna help me because you tried to murder all those people.
Right, but I think even he delineates the difference between an act that one does for self-preservation and then a malicious act that's going to harm a great many people who are not necessarily, who don't have it coming. I think that yeah, he is haunted by killing Otto and whatever else that he's had to do to make it this far, but that's a whole different kettle of fish than purposely sending the horde toward the ranch to destroy it. Like that's an act of genuine malice with no sort of self-preservation angle to it whatsoever.
I'm also pleased in this episode that they didn't take the Walking Dead path of somebody gets bit, we chop off their limb, and then they limp around tortured by that decision for 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. This was a quick one and done. Like, we gave you the gruesome chopping off the arm, and then exactly what you expected to happen happened. He bled out.
The stab? No, they stabbed him in the head.
Well, at first.
Oh, sorry, but he dies and then he joins.
Yes. So it's not like, oh, good, we had time to treat your wound, and now we have to CGI out your arm for 6 episodes while you debate whether or not we should have done that.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. Two guys in a pickup truck, you're not gonna stop the bleeding out from happening with that big of an amputation. Yeah.
What do Walker and Madison think when they get back with their truck of water?
Hello, anybody here?
We left you guys alone for 3 days. What happened? Oh my God, I can't trust you to do anything right.
Well, if Madison hadn't have bartered the damn walkie-talkie, they'd have some idea of what was going on. But you got to do what you have to do in the moment and the thing. I don't know. In fact, part of me was even thinking like once the horde shows up and Alicia is reduced to just like hitting them with the butt of her rifle because she's out of bullets, I thought, you could give us like a 2-minute scene with something happening with Madison Strand and end the show right here.
Yeah.
But we're not. So we got to see where that goes.
We're trapped in the pantry now, where there may or may not be more ammunition, but certainly they don't have a good vantage point to get out.
Right.
And now Alicia is the de facto leader. Is that what they're leading us to believe? Ophelia says, "Go, they'll follow you."
True. Yeah. But again, which they does she mean? Everybody or just like the Otto folks? So I guess that we have the crazy dog Ophelia faction and the Alicia her name just flew out of my head. Alicia faction, thank you. Is that the actress and the character? That's why I got confused. Okay, she's in Friend Request, which is terrible, by the way. Don't bother. Anyway, so we've got those two factions now in a cramped space. It's
a bottle episode.
That's always fun. Yeah, exactly. So indeed, we may. I watched this on iTunes because my cable was fucked up last night, so I didn't get scenes from next week. So I don't know.
Nor I.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe it is a bottle episode where we're all trapped in a basement. Maybe we're back at the dam. Maybe Nick takes us somewhere else entirely. Who the hell knows?
Nick will be up to something. I don't know what he could do with one other guy and a couple of grenades.
Yeah, that's it. That rocket launcher is not empty yet.
Yeah.
So
they could have something cooking.
Indeed. All right. So only 4 more to go this season. So they've got things in an interesting place. We'll have to see where it all wraps up. So join us next time. Thanks.